episode 99, sponsored by Vitalize. Check them out online. Tonight we have everybody's favorite agent, Matt Dodge, and the Scrap News owner, Joey Torres. Let's do it. How are you, folks? Welcome back. Episode 99. Thanks to our friends at Vitalize. Check them out online for sponsoring this episode. Keeping me looking fresh, keeping the blue light out of my eyes, sleeping well. Check them out online, vitalize.us, located down in Miami, Florida as well. Let's get into it real quickly here, folks. A lot on the docket for tonight. We have two guys who are really, really big right now. Big right now. I don't know what I'm talking about. These guys, Matt Dodge, he's been on here before. He's been on here quite a few times, 2 times, I actually believe. He's an agent. He's been an NFL agent, but now he's obviously focused mainstream on mixed martial arts. That's his big thing, located down in Florida as well. Some really, really talented individuals on his roster and growing. He's been fantastic to talk with. Again, we've had him on a couple times, and he's just kind of a person that we really like because he's an up-and-coming guy with a lot of knowledge, a lot of passion, and does things the right way. And to me, that is super important. And he's really I'm a big fan of exceeding the expectation. And I see all his fighters and what they post and how they're treated. And if you're treated at that level, that well, man, once you get to the highest level, the sky's the limit. So very cool to have him on tonight, as well as the co-owner of the Scrap News, a guy who's been involved in media as well. He's also involved in Dodge Sports, located out in Colorado. A guy who is closely working with Dodge Sports and Matt, a real great guy, proponent of mixed martial arts and a book of wisdom, we'll call him. So let's bring them on together here, folks. Again, this episode is sponsored by Vitalize. Without further ado, Mr. Matt Dodge, how are you, sir?
That intro video gets me so hype. I cannot believe it. I'm ready to fight.
There you go. Welcome to FLA Exposure, Mr. Joey Torres.
How's it going?
Good, man. Thanks for joining us, boys. It's all true. Like John and I are big. Obviously we're sitting here doing this podcast every night and continuing to push forward. You got to pivot and do what you got to do. And we spoke about this before, Matt. Exceeding the expectation. Fighters are athletes, but it's also business, and how they're treated is also going to reflect how they perform.
Without a doubt. I could not agree with you more. Joey and I, we take pride in treating every guy from top to bottom, 20 fights in the UFC, done your last amateur fight or first professional fight. It's the same thing. It's the same level of service that you get with us. And that's how it should be. And if it's not like that, look elsewhere.
I couldn't agree more. What are your thoughts on that, Joey?
Yeah, no, I think it's extremely important, and it's one of the main reasons why I signed up to work with Matt. It's the level of attention that a fighter gets early on in their career when they need it most. There's just a level of detail, level of professionalism, that comes with working with Dodge Sports. And one of our mottos, I guess you can say, is feel good, look good, fight good, and that's what we always strive for.
Yeah, man, that's actually a great quote. Feel good, look good, fight good. That's really great because it's true. How many of these athletes, as a promoter, I see a lot of them come in ill prepared or some other ones who are just struggling to get by to fight, right? And if there's a lot of things that can be taken out of the worry, man, you're obviously going to fight better. So that's what I love about you guys. Your connections appeal to every aspect of the fighter. You're hooking them up with this sponsorship or that sponsor. There's more to just getting a fight, right?
There's so much more. Joey's come on board and really killed that part of the game. I think in the MMA world, and even when you're coming up as a fighter, sponsorships are really difficult to get. I mean, you're training 2-3 times a day. Also, you just some people don't have the business acumen to be able to go after them. Joey's been able to do it, and it goes from the top to bottom. Really, look good, fight good, look good, feel good, fight good. Also comes into play for the fight kits, right? And what they're wearing and how they're representing the brand and how they're representing themselves at the highest level. When you're trying to beat out someone who's very, very similar to you, the attention to detail really makes a world of difference.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think, it's really important when you're going after these sponsorships, if you don't have that personal connection to your fighter, it's never going to work, right? Like you don't want to just slap on a logo just to slap it on and have them, not so passionate about promoting it. So it's really important that you really dig deep into those relationships, see what they're comfortable promoting, what they use in their everyday life, and then tackle them and put together this, clever marketing, creative marketing that these businesses are honestly yearning for right now, especially during, this time. So, all that attention to detail is what I do with Matt every single day.
Yeah, well, it's noticeable, man. Like I'm telling you, like it sets things apart. I'm a huge person when it comes to attention to detail, and that is a massive thing for anybody. It really should. If you're in business, like if someone's consistent and exceeding expectation, everything looks good, everyone's happy, man. Like it should be like a lot of people kind of get jealous, so like, oh, how but at the end of the day, it's more should be like, fuck, how do I become that? If my father always used to say, like, because I'd complain about money, oh, that company's so expensive. He'd say, hey, if you can't beat them, join them, buy stock in that company, right, and get a good dividend or whatever, right? And that's the way it should be, man.
Totally agree.
Yeah, you guys do a great job down there. What do you think the whole? It's funny, Matt and I were just talking about coming on. Like we're up here in Canada, so obviously everybody's in the same position. There's no events going on. We're going to do a grappling event in October. There's a couple other grappling events in Canada, but for the most part, everybody's kind of screwed for MMA. So athletes can come and go. They can go down to the U.S. and compete and come back and isolate, but we can put on our own events. So it's kind of insane. What do you guys think about it? Obviously, you're down in like Matt said, the hotbed there, but you're putting on. I don't think they ever stop.
Florida for you, right?
Yeah.
Hey, when you get sports deemed an essential business, you're in a good place, and that's where we are. We're in a state where sports are such a big business, and look, there's not a ton of MMA regional opportunities right now. You got to be creative and you got to really like knock on a lot of doors and make a lot of phone calls to try and figure out what opportunities there are. What we were just talking about offline, Derek and I, is the fact that Aaron Jeffrey, one of our clients, is going to be fighting here in Miami, and the promotion that he's fighting for is SFT. SFT is one of the biggest Brazilian promotions. They've never even done an event in the States yet.
Wow.
And they choose to do their first one here in Miami in the hotbed of COVID. But you know what? Like, awesome. I respect that because it's the Dana White mentality, right? Like let's dare me not to, right? And make it happen. And they've got a ton of really great guys. They have this promoter there, David Hudson, he's a go-getter. He makes things happen, and he's doing really great things with the show. So we're stoked that Aaron gets the opportunity to fight out there. Jasmine gets the opportunity to fight in Philly, and we got a lot of cool things on the horizon.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to actually talk to you about. Like, and by no means do I mean that in a bad way. Like, when I say they can come and go, I mean like if they can come and go, then we should be able to put on events, really. But let's get into Dodge Sports. Like, it's a big week. Like, I think again, you go back to Aaron's fight. Like, the marketing, I've been watching it, really good. Like, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful promotion. Obviously, Jasmine's fighting in a well-known promotion, and then the Contender Series with Anthony, a big couple of weeks for Dodge Sports.
Yeah, and we also just got, one of Joey's guys has a fight to announce pretty soon here on a huge regional promotion as well. Yeah, it's a massive month. August is a big month for us. August is a big month in general, right? Because Contender Series is there. You have a lot of organizations that are usually trying to put on big shows to elevate their men and women into Contender Series. Contender Series has opened up a lot of opportunities, so we're really excited. I think everyone's itching to get out there. We talk to the men and women that we represent. It's such an honor to be able to fight during this time. They'll look back on this. Jazz and Aaron and Anthony, they'll look back on this and say, wow, like, what a special time to be able to fight in front of nobody when everybody's watching, right? No live audience, but everybody's watching on the streams or on cable networks or whatever. So, like, embrace this, enjoy the process, like, don't say no to anything and just have a blast, and look back on this, a couple months down the road or maybe a few years down the road and feel like you're blessed to have been a part of it.
Yeah, I think it's such an exciting time. I know a lot of negative, comes with the times, of course. It's been some crazy times, but one of the things that really excites me during times like these are just the innovation that you start to see happening in any industry that you work for. I'm in several industries now, but this one in particular, you're starting to see innovation with regional MMA. One thing I don't think a lot of people think about, this is more like my PR brain and the scrap coming into this, is it's kind of exciting for us too, as writers and media platforms, because you're kind of seeing this new wave of fighters get attention. And if you think about it, the Contender Series is calling up that first line of people that are ready. So now it's making ways for the Jazzes, to get these title fights and for promotions to build new talent. So it's been pretty cool to see and to kind of work behind the scenes, with PR and all that stuff, just to kind of see that come to fruition. It's always exciting.
Very cool. Yeah, it's such a ever-changing, quickly changing sport. That was a terrible sentence, but so it's like every week, every fight, like you can get guys who are going in, like a lot of people have so much amateur experience, and by the time they have like a 4 or like 4-1 or 4-0 or 5-1 record, they look so polished already. Like you can watch these UFC events, like the fight nights, and everybody, like for example, Gavin, a guy from out east here, so talented, and like he's a guy that's like been on 2 weeks' notice forever, and he went out there and looked so good, man. And I don't know, the UFC is doing an incredible job, like you say. It's risky, but man, I think like they've done it. There's no they're doing it. They've done it. And they went to Fight Island, pulled it off, like incredible, and no one's talking about it, which is disappointing, I think.
I know. And the UFC is doing it and doing it better than a lot of these sports that have been around for a long time. I mean, what is it? The St. Louis Cardinals, or someone just their team is all tested positive. Of course, the Miami Marlins tested positive, right? So a lot of these sports need to take a page out of what the UFC is doing. Be safe and whatnot. I'll tell you what. This week alone, we obviously have two people, excuse me, Jazz and Aaron in camp, and the COVID protocol. Top of the line. I mean, Jazz got in on Sunday, took her COVID test, going to take more COVID tests. Same thing, Aaron here. Like, just do things the right way. Don't take shortcuts. I think that's what the UFC is doing, and it seems like a lot of the regional MMA is doing it as well. And I think that some of these Canadian, promotions can do it the right way too. They just need to trust in the process and give you guys the opportunity to do things the right way and let MMA continue to grow, because without regional MMA, there is no UFC. There is no lifeblood. There is no Gavin Tuckers. I mean, look, Gavin Tucker fought many, many years regionally before he even made it into the UFC, and now he's on the precipice of doing really good things. Yeah,
no, it's very true, and I had a really good conversation with the New Brunswick Commission last week, and he said, listen, like, I'm pushing so hard, but there's this one doctor in Canada, because all the commissions are working together now on this, and he said there's one doctor holding it up in Quebec, he said, but the problem is like here we don't have the ability. Like down there, you guys can buy tests. We can't even buy them because it's all like that it's like a different healthcare. But we've looked into it, and someone said no, I can actually get you some tests. So who knows? Like, I guess the power of money can do, right? But it's like, I think you hit it right on the head. Do it the right way, and everything from what I've seen is to me, like, I think it's super exciting when you can have the UFC lead by example and do, like, those are at the end of the day, those are the people, like a lot of promotions are like, I want to be in the UFC. Don't give up that dream, because that's never going to happen. But like, find your niche in the promotion. Like Matt and I speak about that a lot, and find your niche in what you're trying to do, develop fighters or whatever you're trying to do, and then work with those kind of people, and to them leading the way, I think is super exciting for our sport, because it's not that far away. I think we'll be back sooner than people think.
I hope so.
So
love it.
Yeah, that was a long-winded sentence. What's so media? I guess we'll scrap news, Joey. What's the whole idea behind that? Is there anything, like, what's your difference between you guys and any other media outlet?
Yeah, I mean, it's wild to even see how this journey has played out for me, honestly. I started wanting to get into the journalism aspect of things. I signed up for a website when I was young. I was in college, and I really hated being told what to write. And
Oh,
coming from my undergrad, being an English major, writing's always been my passion. I love this sport. So I really wanted to start this news source with my college roommate, actually my best friend. We started this. We wanted it to be a creative hub for not just mixed martial arts, but mixed martial arts is our big focus point. We wanted it to be a news source, but also a creative hub for us to be able to showcase regional MMA in a much broader spectrum, and not just the UFC guys. Like you'll see more regional prospects on our site than UFC fighters, and that's by choice. We've actually found that people are more passionate on the regional scene, believe it or not. You have your family members sharing those articles, right? They're really proud to see those fighters getting interviewed. And what's cool about regional MMA is you might have a guy for your website, but he's, interviewing big UFC clients for another website. And it kind of gives these regional people that the attention they deserve. Honestly, they can build their star power early on. It's going to be cool to see how it continues to evolve, but we wanted to be a staple in that, and we saw the difference. We see how much it's impacted. So if I had to say how we're different, we care a lot about the up and comers more than we do about the current stars. And also, it's creative stuff. It's not your everyday news source. You're not going to see the same article on another site. We're not about, being one of 20 articles of this champion's fight news. It's not for us. So, we found a lot of positives going this direction.
Awesome. Well, it's like I just said about a promotion, like finding that niche. It's like it's even this podcast. People say, like you do a lot of podcasts. I'm like, well, it's a niche market, man. It's not for like the news. It's not. It's like almost like talk shows. What it is, it's to meet for networking, to talk to different people, right? And if you can set yourself apart, and I think that's very cool, man. Like people, like you say, people at the regional and up level are super passionate and are going to give you a lot of love back. And it's amazing how media has really changed and got really behind the scenes of the athlete. And like again, like I follow like Chris and Jazz and AJ and all these guys and girls as they're training here, and it's super exciting, man. Like they're professional athletes, really, like not at the highest level yet, but they look like it.
Oh, absolutely. And when you see a comment from somebody you don't even know, praising, especially the ones that we work with, like you start to see, it's a kind of like a pat on the back, like, wow, like you're doing your job, like, or even seeing them grow as interviewers. I started working with Matt almost a year ago now. And I remember my first task was to start building the PR for guys like, Romero, for Jazz, for Aaron, who are right there on the cusp. And, we talk about this all the time, like seeing where Romero started with interviews, how he interviews today. That is like those feelings you'll never be able to replicate. But yeah, it's important. These podcasts, whether people say things about it or not, it's so important for the sport, man. Like we need to paint these fighters as more than fighters. These are some of the most passionate, most loyal, most committed people I've ever worked with. But then people watch Kingdom and think that all they do is drugs and fight, right? So these things are really important. We got to paint the art that we want the people to see in our sport. So keep it up.
Yeah, it's true, man. Same as you guys. Like I commend anybody who's doing anything for the right reasons, but especially our sport. Like some people ask me all the time, like, why is it so hard? I'm like, well, do you like fighting? They're like, not really. I'm like, well, there you go. Like, you're promoting something that like probably, I don't know what the stats are. Like, do you know, Matt? But like, I would think 3/4 of the population doesn't like.
Really. I would agree. I think that's probably fair.
Like, I don't know how many MMA fans are out of 365 million are in the United States.
A lot.
50 million, maybe.
Maybe.
A lot of old ass people in Canada. Not saying old people don't like fights, but our demographic ends at 55.
Yeah.
They won't hear it. Don't worry. Yeah, it's interesting, man. The sport is really evolved, and I think social media, again, going back to that, like some athletes don't utilize. Sorry, I was off screen. Some athletes athletes do not utilize it. And to me, it's like, as an amateur athlete, you're okay. For example, even like some complained, okay, well, we're forced to wear your shorts. I'm like, well, here's what we're doing for you. We're making your shorts for you, and we're printing them, and we're getting your logos off the sponsors on them. You're paying $50 for that and a T-shirt, and all your sponsors are taken care of. And then the T-shirt's online, and you can buy it, and then you get $10 for the T-shirt. A company under the gi did that for us, but and some people are like, oh, I don't have any sponsors. I'm like, well, man, you should get hustling. Go talk to some people and get their logo on there and make yourself a couple grand.
And start locally too, like, I mean, Joe's Pizza Parlor around the corner from you, which even if you have a social media following of 1,000 people, right? If you have 20 people that live in that area that could go to Joe's Pizza Parlor once a month, Joe's Pizza Parlor is going to probably give you a couple $100 to fight for that, put your logo on their shorts or whatever it may be. Like, think creatively and don't think so big early on. I mean, we have a lot of sponsors that are local and regional based for our fighters that want to support the fighter, not just because of ROI. ROI is a great thing. And I think a lot of times you got to start that way sometimes too, or it develops that way, but just be creative and start small and don't be too proud, because maybe they love MMA. Maybe they want to be a part of something like that and see you grow. And as you start getting that platform and starting getting that if you put out good, authentic content on your social media, it's gonna grow, and what's gonna come with that is hopefully more opportunity with bigger and better sponsors. But don't ever forget the little guys. Don't ever forget the people that got you there, because without them, you're nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very well said. And it's so funny to talk about a pizza shop, because that's kind of how we started too. We had a pizza shop sponsor us, and Sam's Pizza, like, always, like, just good people who just want to see somebody do well. And local people really will, if you're honest about it and you go to see them. And like you said, Matt, it doesn't so much matter about ROE. It's more so like how you are, like, for my experience anyway, how you are in the community, how you're holding yourself. Like, if you can get that, like, for some of these products, like, they're not paying me to promote these products, but they're willing to give us a product for giveaways and things like that, because they're like, oh, this guy is, like, they're doing good things. We'd like to be associated, in the hopes in the future that maybe they'll sponsor our events or something like that, right? Like, it's whatever. But
well, that's
go ahead.
I was going to say that's important there too, right? Like, yes, like, product doesn't pay the bills all the time. Don't get me wrong, but when you do align yourself with businesses that are passionate about growing together, me and Matt, we really pride ourselves in finding those types of businesses, right? The ones that want to build with us from the start. The smaller ones that have the capacity to do that, but it's important to align yourself with businesses that are going to promote you as equal, because that opens doors to more publicity, more eyes, right? More followers that you probably never would have gotten. So I think all of that's important. And I think what I'm learning is, maybe some people don't like social media, but a lot of them really are. They just need some guidance. They just need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of pushing, and info. A lot of them are just, they go into this blind and they're just like, do I just post? And it's like, no, you got to be meticulous about it. You got to post at this time, these hashtags. So it's a work in progress.
You say it, because I'm kind of like you kind of, like, after a while you become so comfortable. You're like, so I'll send the link to somebody, and they're like, so do I paste that somewhere? Or, like, no, just click it. And they're like, but then what? Click it, man. Just click the link. But it's not like, it's so funny that you say it. They just need a little bit of help. And that's what I think is very cool with you guys, is that I noticed with Dodge Sports is everything's kind of consistent. Like, as soon as something's posted, the whole team reposts it and, like, supports one another and creates that network. And that's noticeable, and it helps one another and drives the numbers up, which at the end of the day helps everyone.
What's really nice about that, Derek, is we don't tell people to do that.
Wow.
It just happens, because when you build like a sense of community and family, like we have here at Dodge Sports, and a lot of other agencies don't have that, which is why you don't see it. You end up getting this very cohesive community type vibe, where everybody wants to see the other person succeed, because they know that success means easier and potential success for them. I heard an interview of Aaron's just a couple of days ago, and the question was, is it great to see Anthony Romero on Contender Series and get that opportunity like you had last season? And he said 100%. And they said, why? And he said, well, that just means our gym is that much closer to the UFC. Right. And so he sees the success of Anthony is directly correlated with his success, and his success is directly correlated with Jasmine's, and also all the amateurs that fight at that gym, so we don't have to say anything. It's just kind of built in with our culture.
Yeah. And I will say probably what started that too is whenever a fighter wants to be represented by us, or if we go after them, we always tell them, talk to the other guys on the roster. Like, don't make a decision until you do that. And I remember my first fighter that I signed, Justin Wetzel, here out of Team Elevation. That was the first thing we did, and he went to Jazz actually, and Jazz said nothing but great things. And now, every time I go see Justin, we'll talk about Jazz. Like, hey, Jazz got a title fight. Like, yeah, everyone's gonna tune in and support. So it kind of happened naturally, I'd say. Yeah.
Well, it happens naturally, but naturally because obviously the people you are. I get lots of messages, lots of them from agents who are like, it's like, fuck, man, what? Like, what? Who? I don't even know who you are, man. Like, not that I should know who you are, but it's just like I want this guy for a fight. It's like, hey, man, what's your name? Maybe, I don't know. My name's Derek. That would be a good start, if we're going to do this relationship. It's not that, to me, I don't know. To me, I look at it as an agent-fighter relationship. It should be like a good, you not always know the person, but you should know the person pretty well and how that agent works with their athletes. I don't want some dickhead who's going to take advantage of athletes, truthfully.
And we don't want to put our fighter in a promotion that is not going to keep them safe, or cuts corners, or doesn't pay, or isn't gonna put the same effort and energy into marketing them that we're going to on behalf of that organization. So you're absolutely right. It goes two ways. It's all relationship oriented and driven that way too. But yeah, I think a lot of managers, a lot of agencies, they expect people and promotions to do things for them, but don't want to give a whole lot in return. Joey and I see things the opposite way. Let's give these guys a platform, whether they're big or small, and grow with it. We'd love to see, Fight League kick butt, get on UFC Fight Pass, become something amazing in Canada, and then have a huge effect. So.
Yeah, and that's it. Everything's like it can be like that domino effect, obviously, with people working together and positivity, and that's how the sport has to grow. Like people, and I think everybody for the most part is on board. Some people aren't, but just keep going, man. And just it is what it is. But couple final questions for you, boys. Future of Dodge Sports. What's the overall plan? Just you probably got some secrets you don't want to drop here, but overall plan for you guys, just keep kind of the takeover.
Joey and I war game this all the time, and it does change on a pretty regular basis. We've got a lot of secrets. We got a lot of things that are obviously coming down the pipe that we're excited about. But right now, I'll tell you this: we're really, really focused on the current roster. I think the current roster that we have quite a few people that just need that little push and really need that extra time and attention to get them to the next level, because they're so close. And it's just about finding that creative approach, that email or that message to one of the top matchmakers to move them in, or that performance to move them in. So right now, in the short term, really, really focused on that. Long term, I mean, we've got some things in the works, but we're trying to build the next breed. We're trying to build the next people that come through, that are really early on in their careers, need the right opportunities, with Joey and helping out with, the social media and building the brand. We talk a lot about building brand name athletes here at Dodge Sports. That's a huge focus for us too, so we're excited about that. And Joey, has been a huge help in moving that forward.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's all about continuously evolving. Like Matt said, I think we're really focused on this set of roster, but we are actively thinking about the future as well. That next breed that we're going to bring in. So we just like to do it at our own pace, but really, yeah, you should see the process we go through, man. We have our little rubrics out. We talk, we watch film, and then we get on a call and we're like, all right, what'd you grade? And so, yeah, when it comes to all that, I'm excited for the future, though. This
I
was.
could tell, man. When he was talking, you were just sitting there smiling, trying not
Oh
to.
yeah,
That's
this is what I.
like,
This is.
especially at this time with everything that's going to shit in a lot of ways. Like, it's so nice and refreshing to see people who are so excited for the future. Because some days I struggle with it. Like, I gotta tell you, like up here, like I'm struggling with it a little bit. But other days you're like, oh, where it's going to come back. It's patience at the end of the day. But man, it's nice to see. It's refreshing, and keep positive, guys, because that's motivating.
Hey, you too, man. I have some ideas that we should talk sometime. You asked Matt. I'm always trying to bring something new, something creative, something different. And I've actually been curious about your line of work and how we could be a little bit more innovative and impactful there.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love that. Awesome. Perfect. I'd love to chat about it. I guess, I've asked you last time you were on, Matt, about advice for future athletes, but I want to, and don't, I hope you guys don't take this personal in any way, but up here being in Canada, obviously we're in a little bit of a different situation than you guys are down in the United States. Any advice to anybody in the United States right now on how you guys can get back to a point of like, or are you like, everything is okay? Everything is okay. And I'm not asking that in any political direction, just more like how can you get back to a normal? Because there's so many people in the United States, man.
That's a tough question, man. I struggle with it every. I struggle with that every day. I don't know, but I think. I mean, having sports back's going to be huge, right? I feel like not censoring some stuff is going to help with the bigger sports. Man, we all just got to come together somehow. I wish I had the answers or the solutions, but it's tough too when we're all stuck at home. Not that we're stuck, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't know, Matt, if you have any answers.
No, I've been following. Like, that's the thing. I haven't been paying attention to it as much, so I don't know what state is in what. Like, my brother actually, he has a great big job down in Texas, in Austin. So I've been talking to him a little bit and how kind of things are going in Texas at the moment. But to me, I look at the United States, man. It's so resilient, and it's a country that can get through pretty much anything. So it's interesting, man. Like that, when I asked that, I'm like, how? And I think it will. It's just going to be one of those things where it's just going to, like, people are badass in the United States, so it's only a matter of time.
Well, I'll tell you what, Derek, we got an election coming up. We'll see what happens after that election finishes. You know what I mean? I think a lot of things might be held up for potential ammunition as it relates to the election and the popular vote and all of that. So we'll see. I mean, I think after November comes and goes and December rocks in, we'll see where things are, potentially under new direction.
Hopefully so. I'm for my job, obviously the border is super important, and I'm a big fan of the United States. I spent a lot of time down there in Florida, in New York, and in California, and all over the place. And it's a beautiful country. So hopefully things get back to normal everywhere. And I wish you all the best, safe, and any final words for anybody out there, or obviously for your fighters coming up in the next week. Any advice for anybody out there listening? The floor is yours, my friends.
Joey.
If you want better management, slide through Matt's DMs this way.
We're taking new roster, like other than the current fighters, you're still open for business.
I'll tell you, Canada is a market for us in Dodge Sports right now. We're big into the opportunities there, and I truthfully think, Derek, we talked about this before. I think the Canadian MMA market is completely underrepresented, and it's a shame, at the highest levels, because some of the best fighters I know, most dedicated individual athletes I've ever met, come from Canada, and it's a shame that we don't really have obviously a Canadian champion. I hope, obviously tomorrow you got TJ Laramie, who's going to be fighting for Contender Series. Wish all the best for him. Anthony a couple weeks later. And then, Aaron hopefully can be right on that horizon and Jazz right on that horizon. And I think that having those individuals as ambassadors of Canada and do really great things at the next level should hopefully bring this next crop of Canadian MMA fighters up. But the thing is, they need to be well represented and well managed. So we're always open to looking at footage, as Joey mentioned, of any fighter who is interested in getting opportunities elsewhere. Because if Canada is closed for MMA for the rest of the year, there's some opportunities in the US and maybe we can make something happen. So for anyone who's listening, look, continue to stay creative. Reach out for help and guidance. You've got great resources on this call right here alone. Just make sure you mention FLA that you heard us, on that, and we'll be happy to help out.
Awesome. Thank you for that, man. Appreciate that. And thank you for joining us, guys. Any further advice to that, Joey? Or
I would say just stay positive. I mean, things are slowly but surely coming back. Take this time to get better. Take this time to learn social media. Take this time to get your name out there. You say you're going to hear more no's than you hear yeses in this game. I mean, even as agents, we hear it too. So just stay positive, stay on course, and everything's going to come to fruition very, very soon. You'll see, and everyone will be back at it.
Yeah, I love that. That's true. Keep positive, boys. There you have it, folks. From the men behind Dodge Sports, everybody's favorite agents. That's a new slogan. I'm going to have to make a jingle and send that to you someday. Thanks for joining us, Jeremy. Be safe down there and lots of love from up here, okay?
Thanks, Derek.
Right.
Thank you.
Shout out to Zach Pow Pow. I love that guy, too.
Man, you got to get him on.
Yeah, you got to have him back on. All right. Later.
See you guys.
All right, folks, there you have it. Another fantastic episode. Super excited to join Dodge Sports again. They've been on a couple times. Just really, really great guys and, out for the betterment of the sport and representing good people, doing good things. And that's what's good. That's what makes me happy and should make you happy too. Again, shout out to our sponsors again behind us, Maritime Madness. Check them out online, maritimemadness.com. You got NBR Sport, Beat It, Canada.ca, and of course, our friends at Dragon Energy. Thanks for joining us again, folks. We'll be back tomorrow night for episode 100, a massive giveaway tomorrow night for episode 100. Make sure you tune in. Lots of giveaways from our sponsors. What do we got here, folks? We got a barbecue prize pack from Maritime Madness available, a big package of pre-workout coffee from NBR Sport, a t-shirt from Ruddy Lad, t-shirts and gloves from Fight League Atlantic, as well as a 6-pack from Dragon Energy and Beat It Sport. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night. Check it out online on social media. Follow the rules and be there. Or be square. 6 o'clock tomorrow night. And if you're wondering what the t-shirt looks like, it'll be like this. Classy as Fook. See that? Check it out. From our friends at Ruddy Lad. Nipple included. Classy as Fook. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Episode 99. Thanks to our friends at Dodge Sports. As always, if you can be anything in this world, be kind. Except don't be Ellen. She's a bitch. See ya. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. As always, thanks to our friends and sponsors. Without you, none of this is possible.